thanking my colleague and dear friend, Minister Ashni Singh, for articulating accurately the people's wishes, promises made, promises delivered, and a continuous path to prosperity. This budget, Mr. Speaker, steadfast against all challenges, resolute in building one Guyana, provides a clear direction of His Excellency's vision and a full representation of the people, being focused, centered, and led by the citizens of this great nation of ours. Mr. Speaker, it's very difficult for me to respond to Honorable Member Mr. Ramchatan. Everything that he would have proffered clearly shows the disconnect between the opposition and the people. I dare say that they're a resting opposition. Resting. They're at rest. And we believe in honesty and integrity. We believe in going to the people. We believe on administration based on having the people involved. Remember that slogan that you carried, honesty and integrity? Well, let me enlighten you. For us, we believe in interaction. We believe in meeting directly with the people, connecting with regions and communities across Guyana. We have committed to taking government to the people, and we've been doing that consistently since we took office back in 1992 and when we were returned to office in 2020. Mr. Speaker, I have made many visits to Linden and Region 10. And we like to always show the rest of the world and the diaspora that this country is really being led by the people. And that is why we don't only speak to you from our position, but we let you know what the people are saying. Mr. Speaker, if you would allow me, let me share with you and our honorable members on the other side and the people of Guyana and within the diaspora some of the responses that we got from the people of Linden and Region 10. And this is November 2022, very recent. Ms. Esther Benjamin, we're getting somewhere. At least the government is trying to lift the standard and give people opportunities. I like what the government is doing. It's good for Guyanese people. End of quote. Pauline Thom, I must say this government is sticking to their words and they are working towards everything they say. This is not us. This is the people, Mr. Speaker. The people responding to us when we go on outreach. Mr. Troy Duncan, pay careful attention now, honorable members. This refers to you. For the past 5 years, we haven't seen anything what the previous government did, referring to the previous government, the APNU AFC government. And for the past couple of months, this government in power, it really improved. I regret not playing a better part. But trust me, in the future, you will have my support 100,000%. End of quote. This is not me. This is Troy Duncan. This is a resident of Linden. Very familiar to the honorable member, opposition leader, and Ms. Amanza Walton Desir. And I'll continue, Mr. Speaker. Delroy Grenville. Better days are ahead for my community because of the new administration. This is the people showing confidence and leadership based on our honesty and integrity. George Chesney, I am satisfied with the job the administration is doing. And Fleming goes on to say, life is about to return to the glory days because the government's interest in people. We are a government about the people. We are telling you what the people are saying about us. We're not standing there and grandstanding and talking about things that you cannot relate to. I am bringing to you things that you can relate to. People who are alive and well and responding to this government. Mr. Speaker, I want to go on to Buxton. And this is a news report, July the 6th, when there was an outreach, cabinet outreach to Buxton. Mr. Speaker, recall that outreach, the opposition tried to rally the people of Buxton and the surrounding environs, telling them not to attend, claiming that they will have a protest. Yes, honorable member. Scores of Buxtonians came out, along with members and residents from the surrounding communities, in droves to listen to the government and to partake in the discussions. The opposition, Mr. Speaker, were left on the sidelines, imported a few persons from other parts of Guyana holding placards. It just goes to show, Mr. Speaker, that this government is a government about honesty and integrity, and we can reach across the divide and we can have engagements with people in a truthful, honest, fair, and transparent manner. Mr. Speaker, let us reflect on the APNO AFC. Recall, Mr. Speaker, back in 2020, after the APNO AFC was trying to steal the elections from the people of this country. This is what the OAS had to say. OAS member states call on Granger administration to allow peaceful transition. This is what the international community is saying. This is what the OAS is saying. And I want to bring to the attention of the honorable member Manza Desir that it was President Ali's leadership at the 9th summit of the Americas back in June of 2022 in Los Angeles, where his leadership led to the establishment of three committees, being food security, energy, and finance. Food security being co-chaired by His Excellency the President. Leadership in the region. As we speak, Honorable Prime Minister is in Argentina, Buenos Aires, representing this country at the Heads of Government CELAC meeting. Representation. We just concluded a very successful visit, Mr. Speaker, in India, where we showed the synergy between the private sector and government, having fruitful engagements, ensuring that we can bring prosperity to Guyana by improving our international image. If you allow me, Mr. President, former Prime Minister Golden, this is what he had to say, going back to the same period. The pernicious actions of a few has done damage to Guyana's image. This is what he had to say. This is what he had to say. about the now opposition, then government. This is what he had to say. Tarnishing our image. Tarnishing our image. We have spent time between 2020 and now rebuilding Guyana's image to the extent that our international footprint have increased dramatically. There's confidence in the people of this country. As I speak, Mr. President, the Guatemalans are preparing to establish, Mr. Speaker, sorry, the Guatemalans are preparing to establish an embassy here in Guyana. As I speak, the Colombians are preparing to re-establish an embassy here in Guyana. As I speak, Dominican Republic, they are preparing to establish an embassy here in Georgetown. Mr. Speaker, our international image has been repaired. It's on the move, being led by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali. I have more for you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on the elections, U.S. announces more travel restrictions on senior Guyanese officials over elections. Will continue to act until Granger's administration accepts the will of the voters. Mr. Speaker, that is the reality. That is the reality. We have the freedom to travel. All of my colleagues on this side of the floor can traverse the global environment representing Guyana, whether it's at conferences, conventions, outreaches, we can travel. And I dare say, many of you on that side still cannot travel. That is as a result of your dishonesty. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the philosopher Hobbes, he has a clear depiction of the PNC, the sea monster, unshackled Leviathan. That is the nature. That is the nature of the PNC, in whatever form or shape they take. So, Mr. Speaker, when you speak about honesty and integrity, we go to the people. We don't stand and puff on our own. We go to the people. We get the people to tell us and guide us, and we respect the wishes of the people. That is why in 2020, Mr. Speaker, we were returned to office. Mr. Speaker, in responding to the Honorable Member Walter Nazir, staying on honesty and integrity, she presented to this noble assembly yesterday about the Myla Falls project. I have a document here, Mr. Speaker, that clarifies and brings sanity and order. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, the source here is the Ministry of Finance budget speech and estimates 2011 to 2014. And I can share this with the
Honorable Member, you have to. And let me commend the Honorable Member, Mr. Indar Deodat. He has shared all his documents he quoted from, and they'll be circulated shortly.
I will, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at that time, the Honorable Minister responsible for Finance, my dear brother, Dr. Ashley Singh was the sitting finance minister. This is what he had to say. The finance minister said that he isn't quite sure what more the government could have done, pointing out that it is difficult to answer questions if they are not asked. AFC leader Ramjatan, in bringing his motion to the floor to reduce the 20 billion allocation to the program by 19 billion, queried of the finance minister as to the progress made in relation to financial closure for the remaining monies required on the project. I go on, Mr. Speaker. The project, which is geared to provide cheaper, reliable electricity to Guyana, was halted after the political opposition signaled their disagreement with it. Despite consultations and several meetings with stakeholders, investors, and government officials, funding for the project was slashed in the National Assembly, and investors suspended their input into the project. Now, Mr. Speaker, that is the character. That is the character of the PNC, in whatever form or shape they present themselves. They're there about wrecking projects. They're a wrecking ball. All they do is wreck development. We have to come and always rebuild and to keep this economy on the right path towards development. That is reality, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I have the document. Mr. Speaker, in also responding to the Honorable Member Nazir, I have a copy of the World Bank's report, which I will lay over, October 6, 2022. Extraordinary growth, economic growth of 20 to 40% over the last 2 years, brought GDP per capita over 9,300 in 2021 from about 6,000 in 2019. Real GDP estimated to have increased by 19.9% in 2021, owing to the expansion in production, which averaged out at improving the economy. Now, Mr. Speaker, I am trying to bring this to the attention of the people of Guyana so that we can have accurate information within the domain. We cannot encourage the opposition to be sending messages to the people of this country which are designed to mislead them. We're in government. We have a mandate to ensure that the people of this country are well informed so that we can continue to provide them with the services that they so need so that we can improve their lives, their quality of life, and standard of living. That is our role, Mr. Speaker. And that is why we have to spend time correcting the wrongs instead of having a healthy debate. That is what we have to do. But we have to do it because that is what we've been elected to do. Mr. Speaker, the respect for rights and freedoms, something that the opposition does not know about. You know, Mr. Speaker, under the PNC, in whatever form or shape they present themselves, they've always had an authoritarian style. They've always had a police state. They've always curtailed the freedoms and always ensured that the people of this country were coerced. Under the People's Progressive Party Civic, we have always worked tirelessly to ensure that we provide the people with the freedoms and the respect for their rights so that they can have the kinds of livelihood that will allow them to enjoy the partnership that we have. Now, Mr. Speaker, I draw your attention to our bill status. And I must give credit to Honorable Member of the Attorney General, Senior Counsel, and his team for presenting, Mr. Speaker, between September 21st, 2020 and the 5th of December, 2022, 70, Mr. Speaker, 70 bills and amendments tabled in this assembly. Think about that, Mr. Speaker. This is working for the people. This is providing the framework to allow people to enjoy a predictable and stable environment. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. And I'm going to submit this also, Mr. Speaker, to the House. But I wouldn't go through them item by item, but I know that my honorable members on the other side know exactly what I'm speaking to. Mr. Speaker, let's just have a little history lesson about the PNC. Mr. Speaker, when I think about the PNC, I remember a chameleon, always changing its colors depending on the circumstance. Chameleon, yes. That's the UPNU AFC. Mr. Speaker, recall in 1964, the UPNU, or I should say the PNC, coalesced with the UF. When they got into office, that march was over. In the early 2000s, the PNC carried an attachment called the Reform Arm. That was disbanded. In 2011, they came with a new color and brand called UPNU AFC. Today, they're divorced. They're living in separate rooms now. Mr. Speaker, when the People's Progressive Party was established in 1950, it stayed true to form until this day. True to form. Let me also add, Mr. Speaker, that in 1992, the People's Progressive Party opened up itself to the entire Guyanese population so that any civic-minded member of society could have joined. And that remains true to form. True to form. True to form. So, Mr. Speaker, when you speak about consistency, when you speak about character, when you speak about honesty and integrity, you see that in the People's Progressive Party Civic. Mr. Speaker, we honor the social contract between government and its citizens. We believe that we have a role to play ensuring that we continuously and progressively improve the lives of the people of this country. It therefore means, Mr. Speaker, that our understanding of trust, our understanding of confidence building, of transformation, those are principles that are embedded in the People's Progressive Civic Party administration. Mr. Mr. Speaker, when you look at how we go about shaping our policies, which would lead to the budget bringing numbers to bear on our ideas and our response to the people's needs and aspirations. Mr. Speaker, we have done a very fantastic job, and this is based on what people would have said, the citizens would have said, in resolving conflicts among our citizens. And look, we can see what AG would have done over the last 2 years with 70 bills and amendments. And also, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that we deliver public service to the people, providing them also with a secure and safe environment. We have always remained true to our social contract with the people of this country. Unfortunately, for my honorable members on the other side, they don't know about that. They don't understand what's the social contract because they believe in party paramountcy. They believe in taking care of a small few. And you can see their actions between 1964 and 1992, Mr. Speaker. And you see also again their actions between
Mr. Speaker.
2020,
Mr. Speaker.
2015 and 2020.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Deputy.
I trust that the honourable member is careful in his remarks not to impute anything on me as a member of this House, because I never was in the House in those times.
For clarity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy. I've been listening to the Honorable member. He's been saying opposition, and opposition, I think, refers to anything inside, outside. So, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, let me
Go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Let me make it very clear that when I speak about the opposition, that the honourable member, Deputy Speaker, Mr. Schuman, is excluded.
So, Honorable Minister, when you want to exclude the Honorable Deputy Speaker, you can easily say the Honorable members over there excluding the Honorable Deputy Speaker.
I will do that. I will do that. I will do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for your guidance. So, Mr. Speaker, I go back to the social contract that the honorable members on the other side, excluding Mr. Schuman, honorable member Schuman, that they have no respect for that contract. They have no respect for the freedoms and the rights, the liberties of the people of this country. And they've shown that in office. And they continue to show that out of office. Mr. Speaker, recall recently there was a leaked tape involving allegedly the leader of the opposition and his treasurer. There is absolutely no accountability or transparency in their own space. How can they display that to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker? Their house is in a mess. It's awful, despicable. They will remain a resting opposition perpetually. Mr. Speaker, this allows me, Mr. Speaker, to speak about participation and partnership. Mr. Speaker, our scorecard based on the responses and engagements with the citizens of this country, is deserving of us being here, being able to year after year deliver a budget based on the people of this country, centered primarily on the people. Everything that we've done, Mr. Speaker, in terms of our policy making is designed around the people. It is designed to ensure that we put the citizens of this country first. And we believe in that partnership. We believe in that in the people's participation. We believe in that, Mr. Speaker, and we do that. We see the President, Cabinet colleagues, MPs traversing the length and breadth of this country, meeting with citizens, engaging with them on a regular basis, hearing their concerns, and not only listening, Mr. Speaker, but responding and delivering, meeting, and in some cases, exceeding their expectations.
Honorable member, you've exceeded the first 30 minutes a bit, so you'll have to get someone to give you an extension to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I respectfully ask that the honorable member be given 5 minutes to conclude his presentation.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. You may continue for 5 minutes and conclude.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members in the opposition, excluding the Deputy Speaker, been trying to chide me on to speak about foreign affairs. And I'm encouraged, Mr. Speaker, to enlighten the people of this country of a project which commenced under the APNO AFC that wasted the taxpayers' money of this country, and that was to establish an embassy in Brasilia. Mr. Speaker, I have a document here and a report from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is what we have to see. The consultant reported that 64% of the project has been completed to date. Now, Mr. Speaker, this was a contract that was fundamentally flawed. Knowingly, and there are members on the other side, Mr. Speaker, who are sitting members of the opposition, who presided over a contract, knowing that they could not have delivered on it. I had a light chat with my honorable member, Karen Cummings, yesterday, and she said to me, you know what, Mr. Speaker? I was not involved. I inherited it. She was acknowledging, Mr. Speaker, that they cannot run anything, much less dealing with our foreign relations. We, on this side, clearly show that we can manage this country's affairs and provide balanced development to the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, when we speak about urbanization, let me tell you about the border issue. Mr. Speaker, we had the oral hearings in The Hague recently. So I wrote to the opposition leader and I said to him, can you send us one of your representatives to attend the team because it's inclusive? He wrote back sending one We don't have an issue. We don't have an issue. We know that. No, you are junior rank. We understand that. We understand that. You're junior rank. Let me educate you, Mr. Opposition Leader. The Venezuelans, they have a controversy with us. We don't have a controversy. That's clear. But Mr. Speaker, when I sent the letter to the honorable member, the opposition leader, to send us our representatives, I was expecting him to send the shadow minister. The shadow minister was not capable of making the list. He sent two persons. Two persons. And I'm trying to show you, Mr. Speaker, that they are talking about representation. They're talking about leadership. They don't have any sort of leadership on their side. There's no representation, and they're not true to form. They can't even represent with their own people. Even the opposition doesn't have any confidence in the shadow minister of foreign affairs. What are we talking about, Mr. Speaker? This is a laughing matter. A laughing matter.
Mr. Speaker.
So, Mr. Speaker,
Speaker, point.
I will.
Honorable Minister, the Honorable Opposition Leader standing on a point of order.
Mr. Speaker,
44, I think you may want to.
41-6, Mr. Speaker. The member shall, no member shall impute proper motive
Improper.
to any member. 6, no member shall impute improper motive to any member of the assembly. Mr. Speaker, I want to respond to what they...
No.
No.
First of all, Honorable Leader of the Opposition,
Yeah.
you have to tell me your interpretation of the Honorable Minister imputing improper motive
By
on
saying-
someone on this side.
By saying what he said, he was suggesting that we proposed two persons, and that is untrue. We proposed one person, and the minister sent through their permanent secretary to ask for another person.
Okay, that's a clarification, which
totally untrue what he
which
said.
the only I allow.
Totally untrue.
I think we all could learn a bit, Honorable Opposition Leader. What you raised there was a point of clarification, and the standing order says, the standing order said before you could go into that explanation, I had to get leave of the person presenting, and I didn't put it. I allowed you to go, but I thought you were going to say he was imputing improper motive on the honorable member who shadowed him. Honorable member, you may proceed. I'll give you back your 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Thank you for your timely intervention, Mr. Speaker. So let me re-emphasize, Mr. Speaker. We believe in being true to form. We believe that if we look across the divide, we should be able to talk to the people and those honorable members who have been identified as sitting MPs, as shadow members. That is natural, Mr. Speaker. So if we cannot follow and have engagements and have continuity, it means that we're not really properly engaging. And we're saying, Mr. Speaker, on this side, that the opposition leader appears to be, by his actions, not understanding his role as an opposition leader. Clearly, Mr. Speaker. Clearly. So we, on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we are very pleased to know that we enjoy the confidence of the people of this country. We're very pleased to know we enjoy the confidence of the regional community. We're very pleased to know that we enjoy the confidence of our traditional partners, non-traditional partners, and we are pleased to know that we have the full confidence also of the members within the diaspora. Mr. Speaker, we will continue with our urbanization of this country. We will continue, Mr. Speaker, with our human development of this country. We will continue, Mr. Speaker, with ensuring that we have an inclusive and one Guyana. We will continue, Mr. Speaker, to have progress and sustainability. And we will continue, Mr. Speaker, to have prosperity for all. I do commend this 2023 budget to this Assembly for its approval. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.